What's up, MMA fans? Welcome back to MMA Ground and Pound, the YouTube channel with all the latest MMA news. Derrick Lewis remaining with the UFC. Derrick Lewis has signed a new 8-fight deal with the UFC. Lewis's contract ended after his 33-second TKO of Marcus Rogerio de Lima on July 29th, and he had hoped to re-sign. The Black Beast signed a new one less than 2 weeks later. Dana White had this to say about Lewis when asked if the UFC would bring him back on. "Listen, I love Derrick, personally and professionally. I love the guy, so yes." Lewis is the all-time record holder for most UFC knockout wins. So needless to say, we're pleased to see him re-signed. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Dana White reacts to McGregor and Chandler's ice bath. On the most recent episode of The Ultimate Fighter, Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler competed in the Coach's Challenge. This season's challenge was to answer trivia questions while immersed in an ice bath. The two coaches ended up sitting in their ice baths for half an hour.
We'll just sit here until you guys are ready. We got in here. Remember that first question?
During an interview with the Mac Life, UFC President Dana White was quick to let everyone know that he doesn't support how the challenge went down.
I'm going to tell you this. It was a huge, huge fucking clusterfuck by the production team that shot this thing. Completely fucking irresponsible, completely a shit show, and both of them could have been hurt during this. It was fucking ridiculous what happened during the Coach's Challenge. I did 37 degrees in New York for 7 minutes. We did 2 days at 6 minutes. We did the last day at 7 minutes. These guys did this thing for almost 30 minutes. Dangerous, stupid, irresponsible, and just completely fucking ridiculous on the part of the production crew that handled the Coach's Challenge. Yeah, I was literally fucking pissed off about it. Disgusting.
McGregor responded to White's interview with a post of his own, saying, "The production were fine and actually quite awesome too. It was no problem at all, but thank you, Dana, for looking out. All love from the tub. Catch Ultimate Fighter on ESPN." A quick search tells you 10 to 15 minutes is the approximate time that you should be in an ice bath for. Do you think that production should be to blame, or is Dana White overreacting? Comment below. If you like our videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button so we can keep them coming. Bad news for the UFC. The antitrust lawsuit against the UFC that's been in the works for nearly a decade, and it has now been certified as a class action lawsuit. According to MMA fan and lawyer Eric McGregor, the UFC could be facing a payout of billions, but it wouldn't end there. The UFC would also have to stop using ruthless and coercive business practices.
A bunch of fighters sued the UFC saying they used illegal techniques to acquire dominance in the market, and they abused that dominance in the market. And the effect of that has been to underpay fighters drastically over the years. The lawsuit started by some individual fighters, but they wanted it certified as a class action, meaning hundreds and hundreds of fighters automatically get to participate in it. That's exactly what occurred today with the court's certification order. So there's a class of about 1,200 fighters that are now suing the UFC unless they opt out. Things the court said: number one, that they use oppressive contracts; number two, that they use ruthless tactics outside of those oppressive contracts, and combine those two things, keep fighters from really ever enjoying free agency. And three, the court found that the UFC has bought up competition, not to necessarily make their product better, but instead to give fighters fewer choices on the open market. So the courts found that the UFC has used a series of tactics over a number of years to lock themselves into a dominant market position, and that they abuse that power to maintain that position.
How will this change the game moving forward? Tell us your thoughts below. Ian Garry's new opponent, UFC 292. If you missed our last video, Jeff Neal pulled out of the fight between himself and Ian Garry for UFC 292. Ian Garry was left without an opponent, and he asked on camera if this was giving him what he initially wanted.
Is this card giving me what I initially initially asked for in Neil Magny.
Turns out he was right. Neil Magny has answered the call to be Jeff's replacement. Neil posted this to his Instagram, captioned, "When an opportunity of a lifetime presents itself, I must act within the lifetime of that opportunity." Later, Ian posted this to his Instagram. He wrote, "I always get what I want. See you in Boston." After the video of Ian Garry circulated social media, Saif Saud, who is Jeff Neal's head coach, had this to say about the video. "I just saw this and find it very disturbing. Jeff Neal is working closely with the UFC medical staff after never fully recovering from near-death sepsis. Fans all know. This kid fought. It's pathetic to hear this." Saud continued with, "It's just stupid to say that. Jeff is the guy that tried to push through for the Shavkat fight and everyone's like, what's wrong with this guy? Everyone feels it, all the fans. The guy's just not healthy. Everyone knows this story. Are you that tone deaf that you don't know what's going on in the sport? Everybody knows his situation." In the coming weeks, we're certain we'll hear more about Jeff's status. Are you happy with this new matchup? Comment below. Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling training. Sean O'Malley shared a video of him training for his fight against Aljamain Sterling. Aljamain Sterling followed up that video with his own video. Do you think either has an edge in the fight coming up in just 8 days? Tell us in the comments below. And that wraps up the news. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to catch all the latest MMA news. Here are the top comments from our last video. One user thought our thumbnail caption for our previous video was hilarious. It was "McGregor takes a humongous piss for Chandler," by the way, and we thought it was pretty funny too. Another thought it was funny how much discussion there's been surrounding McGregor's pee. If you want to be featured in our next video, all you have to do is comment below.